advisors has suggested England could have to consider closing pubs.
Lots of households, and so actually sort of closing some of the other networks, some of the schools.
Graham Medley there talking on the Today programme this morning. Women have been receiving up to 80% of their salary through the furlough scheme. Will have to start contributing themselves from today. Councillors say that if they can't reopen, they won't be able to afford to pay their workers. But more than half of the people furloughed during the pandemic are now back to work, a think tank has suggested. Vivian Nunes reports.
The lights have been off at Fabric nightclub for the past 4 months. Many staff here have already lost their jobs. 50 people were let go yesterday. As of today, the business must start paying their national insurance and an electricity bill costing thousands of pounds in standing charges. From September, employers will need to pay 10% of their staff's wages while they remain on the furlough scheme. In October, that increases to 20%, before cutting off completely at the end of that month. The fear is, with so many businesses still struggling, that will trigger a wave of redundancies. Critics are calling for more support for the sectors that have been hit hardest.
Hospitality, the nighttime economy are really feeling the effects of the necessary measures that are being taken. Therefore, it makes sense for them to be given additional support and not to be ending the furlough on a one-size-fits-all basis, but in a targeted way, helping those sectors.
Today, some restrictions were due to be eased with the opening of casinos and bowling alleys, and beauty parlours able to offer treatments on the face. Now though, with the rise in coronavirus cases,
eyelash extensions, we can't do that. With cancellations from tomorrow.
that may not be enough to keep going. Vivian Nunes, BBC News.
Unemployment benefits brought in to support Americans who've lost their jobs during the coronavirus pandemic have expired. Congress has been able to reach consensus on a new relief package. It means payments of $600 a week to millions of people ended overnight. President Trump has blamed the Democrats for the impasse. Democrat leaders say a White House proposal to extend the payout for 7 days was worthless. James Murdoch, the son of the media mogul Rupert Murdoch, has resigned from the board of News Corp, the company which owns a wide range of media outlets, including The Times in London, The Wall Street Journal and The New York Post. In his letter of resignation, James Murdoch cited disagreements over certain editorial content, as well as other strategic decisions. Our North America correspondent David Willis reports.
They've been called the most powerful media family in the world. Father Rupert, seen here with sons James on the right, Lachlan on the left. Now the family dynasty has imploded, leaving a trail of questions and intrigue. James Murdoch's letter to the board of News Corp was terse. My resignation is due to disagreements over certain editorial content published by the company's news outlets, he wrote, and certain other strategic decisions. Central to those qualms over content, it's thought the conservative editorial stance of News Corp assets such as the Wall Street Journal and, most particularly, Fox News.
We're seeing a moment of real tumult and a rupture play out in public, and I think James's resignation is a real manifestation of that, and it's an indication that he doesn't expect to have any real influence over the direction of Fox News or its other properties in the immediate years ahead.
Back in the days of 21st Century Fox, the two potential heirs to the Murdoch media empire shared power between them. With the sale of much of the Fox entertainment business to the Walt Disney Company 2 years ago, James publicly taking issue with News Corp's coverage of the Australian wildfires, which he thought should focus more on climate change.
Editorial and views sections of Fox News discredited.
Found himself embroiled in the phone hacking scandal when he ran the family's publications in Europe. By then, though, it thought his brother had already strengthened his grip on power. Our family statement said simply, "We're grateful to James for his service to the company and wish him the best for the future."
President Trump has said he plans to ban the Chinese-owned video-sharing app TikTok in the United States. Speaking to reporters on board Air Force One on Friday, he said he could sign an executive order as soon as today. US security officials have expressed concern over the safety of personal data on the app. But what is TikTok? Well, it's used mostly to share short videos, about 15 seconds on average. The app is government.
The fact is that China has signed
request or to demand personal data held on the networks and the servers of Chinese tech companies. And if those, and indeed their subsidiaries, which is a factor in this particular argument, remove the Chinese influence from whatever company the spin-off would be, it doesn't remove the central fact of Chinese national security there.
The effects of the pandemic will be felt for decades to come. Pt.1 has the latest.
In Mexico City, this is 7,000. The country now has the third highest death count in the world, just behind the US and Brazil, surpassing.
Were less affected in the earliest weeks are now seeing escalating numbers of cases and deaths.
In the United States, the country has had
percent of the country did that. When you actually look at what we did, even though we shut down, even though it created...
To keep people healthy, restrictions are needed. Trade-offs are required.
We as a society need to make a decision about values and not have any of those things until we get...
Some are doing better than others, but all are struggling. Alana Petrov, BBC News.
Well, we're at the end of a week when the British government reintroduced quarantine for people returning from Spain. Our correspondent Gavin Lee has sent us this update from Mallorca, where some holidaymakers are being brought home early by their tour operator.
Well, today some of the hundreds of customers who are flying with the British tour operator Jet2 are now in this queue. Some have already gone through here at Palma Airport because they're cutting their holidays early. Their flight's been cancelled and they're now going back to the UK. This is because Jet2 had said that they couldn't keep sending empty flights out because they had cancelled the outbound flights last weekend, given the COVID situation, the quarantine from the British government, the travellers coming back, and they said it's not sustainable to be able to keep bringing people back. So the people in this queue right now, many of them are actually due to stay here until next Sunday. This, of course, is one of the many issues that are spin-offs from the COVID situation at the moment in Spain. So as the lockdown eases, Spain's seeing similar problems to other countries, and actually worth comparing. At one point in March, Spain was seeing 7.5.
Gavin Lee there. Now, the BAFTA Television Awards took place last night with a very different look thanks to coronavirus. To Chernobyl,
which won 2 awards, Best Miniseries and Best Actor.
That's a surprise. BAFTA, you've ruined my losing streak. I've annoyed you.
Best Actress went to Glenda Jackson for Elizabeth is Missing, nearly 50 years after her first BAFTA.
Thank you very much indeed. I mean, it was a privilege to do the show, and even more of a privilege.
Won the must-see moment, voted for by the public.
Will you marry me?
Thank you to everybody that was involved in making the show. It was a really joyous experience for us all, and winning this BAFTA is immense.
Yes, thank you very much to everybody that voted and to our cast and the whole crew made the show.
And Strictly had something to shout about, taking the prize for Best Entertainment Show.
What's that, the match?
Is he again?
BAFTA's special award went to Idris Industry. Lisa Zimba, BBC News.
Congratulations to all the winners. Now, Arsenal and Chelsea meet in the Heads-Up FA Cup final today. Kick-off is at 5:30 at Wembley, and of course will take place without a crowd because of social distancing guidelines. Our sports correspondent Natalie Perks gives us the latest ahead of the game.
Well, we're well used to seeing games played behind closed doors with no fans by now, aren't we? But this is the showpiece event at the end of the domestic season, and to be here without fans, it really will be a cup final like no other. The traditional rendition of A Bye With Me will still happen, but it will be pre-recorded from the stadium roof. And of course we'll still have the trophy lift for the winners, but it won't be from the Royal Box, and instead will be down on the pitch. Chelsea, they've already qualified for the Champions League, so all the pressure really on Arsenal, because they know if they win this game, it's the only way they'll be playing European football next season. History, it is smiling on them.
Well, I'm now inside the BBC's headquarters here in central London, and as always, this edition of Global Questions, our 2 panellists and our audience members join us via video link. Let me tell you who's in the hot seat this week. Jenny too can join the conversation. It's hashtag BBC Local Questions. Sorry, Laugh.